There are moments in life when it feels like nothing is moving, when your prayers echo back in silence and your faith feels like a whisper instead of a roar. But I came to tell you today, God does his best work in secret places. Before David held a crown, he was tending sheep in a field nobody celebrated. Before Joseph stood in Pharaoh's palace, he was forgotten in a prison cell. And before Jesus stepped into public ministry, he was hidden in the wilderness in prayer, in obedience. When God hides you, it's not punishment, it's preparation. Because when you're hidden in the secret place, God is forming something that can't be destroyed when the spotlight comes. In the quiet, hidden moments of life, when no one is watching and no applause is heard, that is where identity is formed. The world often teaches us that we discover who we are by doing, achieving, and being recognized. But in God's kingdom, identity is not built by what we do. It is revealed by who he says we are. The secret place is that sacred space where the noise of the world is silenced and the voice of the Father becomes unmistakably clear. It's in that stillness that he begins to whisper truths that shape your very being. You are chosen. You are loved. You are anointed. You are equipped. These words of identity don't come from performance, but from presence. When you spend time with God in the secret place, in prayer, in worship, in listening, something supernatural happens. The world may label you by your failures or your past, but God speaks to the future he already placed inside you. He reminds you of who you were before the pain, before the rejection, before the comparison. The secret place becomes a place of unlearning what the world told you and relearning what heaven knows about you. It's not about trying to become someone. It's about rediscovering who you've always been in his eyes. Every great move of God begins in hiddenness. Before David ever faced Goliath, he learned who he was tending sheep in a quiet field. Out there, with no audience, he developed faith, courage, and intimacy with God. The battles he fought in private prepared him for the victory that made him known in public. What looked like isolation was actually divine preparation. The same is true for you. God is not ignoring you in your hidden seasons. He's shaping you. The secret place becomes the workshop of destiny where God forges your character, strengthens your faith, and anchors your soul in his truth. It's in the hidden place that insecurities are confronted and lies lose their power. When you kneel before God in honesty, he begins to peel away every false layer the world has wrapped around your identity. In that place, your worth is no longer tied to how people treat you, what you achieve, or how visible your life is. You begin to walk differently because you know that being seen by God is greater than being seen by people. When the applause fades and the crowd disappears, what remains is the confidence that your value has never been determined by them. Think about a seed buried deep in the soil. It's covered, unseen, seemingly forgotten. But under the surface, something powerful is happening. The darkness of the dirt doesn't destroy the seed, it develops it. The roots grow downward before the stem grows upward. Without the hidden growth, the visible fruit could never survive. That's what the secret place does for your spirit. It anchors your roots deep in God's presence so that when promotion comes, you won't be shaken by it. There's a story of a young woman who dreamed of being used mightily by God. For years, no one noticed her efforts. She served quietly, prayed faithfully, and helped others without recognition. One night, as she prayed, she felt God say, "I'm building you where no one can see, so when I lift you up, nothing will move you." Years later, when her voice began to reach many, she realized that everything she was saying publicly had first been learned privately. That's what happens when you let God shape you in secret. What he does in the hidden place becomes the foundation of your public calling. You may feel unseen right now, but heaven sees you. Stay faithful. Stay rooted. Because your identity is not formed in the spotlight. It's formed in the secret place where you and God meet face to face. There are seasons in life that feel silent, unseen, and forgotten. Times when you pray and nothing seems to move. When doors stay closed no matter how much you knock. And when you wonder if God has somehow overlooked you. But those hidden seasons are not wasted. They are holy. They are the times when God does his deepest, most sacred work in your heart. When it feels like nothing is happening, everything is happening. God is not punishing you by hiding you. He's protecting and preparing you. The soil of obscurity is where the roots of greatness are formed. In hidden seasons, God refines your motives, strengthens your faith, and purifies your desires. He teaches you to depend on His presence rather than people's applause. You learn to obey even when it's quiet, to trust even when you don't understand, and to keep moving even when you can't see the full picture. These are holy lessons that cannot be learned in comfort or convenience. They are born in surrender. Just as a seed must disappear beneath the dirt to germinate, your hidden season is not the end of your purpose, it's the beginning of your becoming. God often hides what He values most. Diamonds are buried deep underground, pearls are formed in the dark of an oyster, and gold is refined in fire. Hiddenness is not rejection, it's refinement. It's the place where God matures your anointing and ensures your character can carry what He's about to release. Public favor without private formation leads to collapse, but when you've been seasoned in secret, you're unshakable when the spotlight comes. You become someone who no longer needs recognition to stay faithful. In those quiet days, God whispers truths that shape your destiny. He builds endurance through waiting, patience through delays, and resilience through silence. Every not yet from God carries a divine, I'm working. He is orchestrating connections, preparing hearts, and aligning circumstances that you can't yet see. While you think nothing's happening, heaven is building the foundation for your breakthrough. The fruit that lasts always takes time to grow. Quick blessings often fade quickly, but blessings built in secret are unshakable because they are rooted in divine timing. Think of Joseph. He was a young man with a great dream, a promise from God that one day he would rise to a position of influence. But before the dream came true, Joseph endured betrayal, slavery, and prison. Years passed with no sign of fulfillment. Yet in every hidden place, God was training him, teaching him humility in Potiphar's house, integrity in temptation, and wisdom in the prison cell. Those years of obscurity weren't wasted. They were holy. By the time God lifted him to the palace, Joseph was not only gifted but grounded. His hidden season had made him ready for his public assignment. So when it feels like you're in a season of delay or invisibility, remember God plants, He doesn't punish. You are not buried to die. You are planted to grow. The darkness is not your defeat, it's your development. Keep trusting, keep worshiping, keep walking, because the same God who met Joseph in a prison will meet you in your process. And when the appointed time comes, what was cultivated in private will shine in public. Your hidden season is holy, and its harvest will be worth every moment of waiting. God's blessings often begin long before we recognize them. Many times we look for evidence, for doors to open, prayers to be answered, and signs to appear. But God works differently. He moves in the unseen, in the background of our lives, orchestrating details we could never manage on our own. What looks like silence is often divine setup. What feels like delay is divine timing. The truth is, God's blessing often starts in secret, long before the breakthrough ever reaches your eyes. When you walk with God, He begins preparing things in advance for your good. He speaks your name in places you've never been, moves hearts you've never met, and arranges opportunities that your effort alone could never create. You might not see it yet, but heaven is already in motion. Sometimes the blessing begins while you're still praying. The moment you release faith, God begins aligning circumstances. You may not see the results right away because He's working on people, timing, and conditions that will make the blessing perfect when it finally arrives. Faith is trusting that what God promised is already in progress, even when nothing seems to change. The spiritual realm often moves before the natural one catches up. When you live with that awareness, your perspective shifts. You stop worrying about when the breakthrough will come and start thanking God that it's already begun. God is not figuring out how to bless you. He's already done it. The path you're walking might still look uncertain, but His favor is already paving the way. The conversations that will open your next door may already be happening without your knowledge. This truth challenges us to walk in quiet confidence, because when you know God is working behind the scenes, you don't have to force things to happen. You don't have to strive for attention or manipulate circumstances. When heaven has placed favor on your name, you can rest knowing that what is yours will find you. God's timing may look slow, but it is always sure. His blessing begins with unseen preparation, and when it finally manifests, it will make sense why it took so long. There's a short story that beautifully captures this truth. A man once prayed for years for a job that would help him provide for his family. Every interview ended in rejection. He began to feel forgotten by God. What he didn't know was that the company where he would one day work was still being formed. It didn't even exist yet. While he was waiting, God was building the very place that would hire him. A few years later, a friend recommended him for a new position in a newly established firm. He got the job almost instantly. Looking back, he realized that God's delay wasn't delay at all. It was preparation. The blessing had begun long before the opportunity appeared. That's how God works. He blesses before he reveals. He answers before you even know you need it. He is the God of the unseen, and his blessings are often hidden in the ordinary until the appointed time. So if you're in a season of waiting, don't assume nothing is happening. Heaven is already moving. Trust that your name is being mentioned in rooms you haven't entered, your path is being cleared, and your reward is on its way. God's blessing doesn't start when you see it. It starts when he speaks it. And when God has spoken a blessing over your life, no force on earth can stop it from coming to pass. The secret place is where God refines the heart. It's the unseen space where he takes the raw material of your life and turns it into something pure, strong, and unshakable. Refining is never comfortable, but it's always necessary. Just as gold must pass through fire to have its impurities removed, your spirit must go through seasons of testing, correction, and surrender to shine with divine character. In the quiet places of your journey, when you feel isolated, misunderstood, or overlooked, God is not absent. He is working. He is removing what's temporary to reveal what's eternal. He's stripping away pride, fear, and dependency on human approval so that all that remains is his reflection in you. In refining seasons, God often turns down the volume of every other voice so that his can be heard clearly. You may pray and feel nothing. You may worship and sense silence, but that silence is sacred. It is not the absence of God, it's the presence of transformation. The fire of refining does not destroy, it defines. It reveals what's authentic and burns away what's artificial. Many people ask God for promotion, influence, or success, but he loves you too much to give you more than your character can carry. Before he expands your influence, he deepens your intimacy. Before he gives you the platform, he builds your purity. What God refines in private will protect you in public. The refining process also teaches dependence. When the familiar is stripped away and all you have is his presence, you discover that he is enough. This is where your motives are purified, where you stop serving for recognition and start serving out of love. You stop praying for outcomes and start praying for alignment. The refining fire does not come to punish, it comes to prepare. God's goal isn't just to bless you with things, it's to bless you with himself. His greatest gift is not a position, a title, or success. It's the unshakable relationship that comes from walking through the fire and still choosing to trust him. Think of Moses. Before he led a nation, he spent 40 years in the wilderness. The man who once relied on his own strength to deliver Israel by killing an Egyptian was refined in isolation, shepherding sheep on the backside of the desert. Those years weren't wasted. They were holy. In the heat of that obscurity, God burned away self, reliance, and anger, and forged humility and obedience. When God finally called him from the burning bush, Moses was no longer the impulsive prince. He was a refined servant who had learned the sound of God's voice. His wilderness was not punishment for his past, it was preparation for his purpose. The fire didn't destroy him, it defined him. The same is true for you. The refining seasons may feel like loss, but they are actually gain. Every trial you endure, every disappointment you survive, every moment you surrender becomes the furnace through which God purifies your heart. And when the process is complete, you will emerge radiant, steadfast, and ready to carry what he's prepared for you. You'll realize the fire was never your enemy, it was your making. God's refining hand is not against you, it is for you, shaping you into the image of his Son. So don't run from the fire, let it do its work. Because when God refines you in the secret place, he's not taking something from you. He's revealing the best of himself within you. When God rewards, he does it in a way that leaves no doubt about who made it happen. There will come a moment when the hidden prayers, the unseen tears, and the quiet acts of obedience you've sown in private will burst into public evidence of God's favor. The open reward is not just about success or recognition. It's about God revealing his faithfulness in your life for all to see. He loves to take what was once overlooked and make it overflow. The same hands that held you in secret are the ones that will lift you in the open. When the season of reward comes, it won't be because of striving or manipulation. It will be the fruit of surrender. God never forgets what's done in faith. Every time you chose to trust him instead of reacting in fear, every time you forgave when you could have fought back, every time you prayed when no one else saw, it all reached heaven. What you did quietly in obedience was not unnoticed, it was recorded. Heaven's timing may not be fast, but it's flawless. God stores up every act of faith like a seed waiting for its appointed time to bloom. And when the reward comes, it's always multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. The open reward doesn't come to inflate your ego. It comes to display God's glory. When the blessing appears, it will be so divine, so unexpected, that the only explanation will be, it was God. He moves in ways that silence doubt and turn testimonies into sermons. People will see what he has done in your life and be drawn not to you, but to him. That's why God often delays the reward. He's ensuring that when it comes, it points directly to his greatness, not human effort. If you had made it happen yourself, you might have taken the credit. But when God does it, you can only stand in awe. Sometimes the open reward comes after long seasons of obscurity. It can feel like you've been faithful for years without fruit, like your prayers bounce back unanswered. But God's delay is not denial, it's preparation. When the moment comes, everything will happen so swiftly that it will feel like a divine acceleration. What took years to prepare will manifest in days, because God doesn't just restore, he redeems time. The reward isn't just about what you receive, it's about who you become through the waiting. The waiting refines your gratitude so that when you finally step into your answered prayer, you steward it with humility and reverence. There's a story of a man who served faithfully in a small church for over 20 years. He cleaned the floors, opened the doors, prayed with people, and never sought recognition. Many didn't even know his name. One day, a visiting pastor came to preach and noticed him praying quietly at the back. After the service, the pastor felt led to speak with him. That conversation opened a door to a ministry opportunity that changed his life. Within months, the man was overseeing outreach programs that blessed hundreds. When people asked how it happened, he simply said, "I just kept showing up for God when no one else was watching." That's the essence of an open reward. God taking decades of unseen faithfulness and turning it into undeniable favor. When your open reward comes, you won't need to announce it. It will speak for itself. The same God who watched you in secret will reveal his goodness in the open. And when he does, no one will be able to explain it away. It will be a testimony that says, this was God and God alone. Keep sowing, keep praying, keep trusting. Heaven has heard you. Your open reward is already on its way. So if you've been feeling overlooked, you're not forgotten, you're hidden. If you've been feeling delayed, you're not denied, you're developing. If it's been dark, don't curse the darkness. That's where God does his deepest work. You may be in a secret place right now, but you are not in a silent place. He's working, he's watching, he's preparing, and soon, very soon, what God has been building in you privately will burst forth publicly with such power and beauty that everyone will know it was born in the secret place with God.